Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Earlier in the year I did a video that was about a girl who was closing her stretched ears with acid, and it was wild. And I thought I made a follow-up video to that, like talking about like how you should actually get your ears like closed. But then I realized that I hadn't, so I wanted to make a video focusing on that. I've just gathered a few videos that sort of show you the way that it works, how you can close your stretched ears, because I know it is something that a lot of people tend to want to do down the track, whether you're at that point now or you have to close them for a specific reason, like for a job or like something like going into the army or whatever it is. Like, there are many reasons that people choose to close their ears. You definitely need to do your research and go about it the right way. The thing that makes it a very gray area like topic is the fact that no one who isn't like medically trained to perform with a scalpel should be doing so, but yet there are still like a lot of piercing studios that choose to perform these procedures, when like the same with like tongue splitting and that sort of thing. Like anything that is using a scalpel, like cutting someone open, should only be done by a medically trained, medically certified professional. So that's where it is very risky and why you really need to think about who you're going to. I just think it's really important to explain why you should be going to a professional to get your ears closed and not just going to a piercer who says they're like qualified in it, because they should not be like picking up a scalpel. It really frustrates me when people think just because they've done piercings for like 20 years that they suddenly like are a medical professional. Go and do the years it takes to become a professional to do that. People have got in a lot of trouble, even gone to jail, when they have been performing certain like procedures when they are only like a body modification artist, or they're a piercer who is now suddenly picking up a scalpel and cutting, slicing away. So we're going to look at these videos, and these are plastic surgeons, and they're talking into closing stretched ears and how it's done and how it's done properly, etc, etc. Before we begin the video, I would like to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Skillshare. Skillshare have classes ranging from illustration to crafts to web development to photography. Literally anything creative that you can think of, Skillshare has it. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creators. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity. I love the fact that Skillshare are always bringing out new premium classes and that there are no ads, because Skillshare is developed specifically for learning. And I'm super into the class that I'm doing at the moment. It is a Learn to Draw class, Daily Practices to Improve Your Drawing Skills by Gabrielle Brickley. I'm really learning a lot from it because I rely heavily on like visually seeing things in order to like sketch it from life, rather than what she's teaching, which is like putting shapes together and literally being able to like build from your mind then. But now I'm like learning how to just use shapes, and by doing a class that is really focusing on daily practices, it's encouraging me to draw every single day, and I have been drawing every single day since I started it. If this sounds like something you're interested in, Skillshare are giving the first 1,000 of my subscribers who click the link below a free trial to Skillshare. So thank you so much, Skillshare, and let's get into the video. So the first one that we're going to be looking at is from Botched. What a wonderful television show.
My name is Kat. I'm from Boulder, Colorado, and my ears are like rubber bands that are about to snap.
Such a tacky like reality television thing, like they've clearly told her to say, like she would not think that of her own ears. Like, it's so normal. You see so many people walking around with ears that are like a rubber band that is about to snap. Like, no one thinks that.
I went to Catholic school my whole life. I didn't feel like I fit in, but I still wanted somewhere to fit in. My parents weren't getting along either, and I think part of my inclination towards tattoos and piercings was to kind of get away from all of that. So I started modifying my appearance with piercings and tattoos and stuff. I started stretching my own ears. I didn't have a clue what I was doing by myself, and that's when I discovered earlobe scalpeling. Earlobe scalpeling is essentially the process of removing a part of your earlobe tissue in order to enlarge your stretched earlobe piercing. The person who did the scalpeling on me had at it, and I walked out of there. I went from 1 inch to 1 inch and 3/8. Brilliant me thought it would be a great idea to have it cut between the two to make my...
Obviously they're making it way more over dramatic than it has to be. Like, there are a lot of people who get their ears scalpeled. Not saying like it should be done, but like it's pretty common. Also, they're just making the story so dramatic. Like, oh my God, I had to get tattoos and piercings to just be different and rebel against everyone. It's like, is everyone watching this show from like the 1920s? I don't think so. Like, I think people understand a bit more at this point. Well, I hope so.
One hole larger and then take out the rest of them.
Who did that?
It was the piercer.
Someone's basically practicing medicine without a license on you. Taking a scalpel to the skin is cutting the skin open, and that's a surgical procedure.
Thank you. We love to hear it. If we cannot make that more clear, even though I just said that like scalpeling is a like pretty common thing, it doesn't make it okay. And that is so, so, so true. I love to hear it because I think a lot of people don't realize that. Even though it is such a common thing for like, you know, body modification artists to be performing their artistry, it is so, so risky, and it is done very under the radar. A lot of these places would get completely closed down if like health and safety officers knew what was actually going on in there. I love that we're hearing it straight from the surgeon's mouth.
That's why you not only distorted your earlobe,
Right.
but well into the ear itself where the cartilage is.
Exactly.
So this is much more advanced than the typical sort of earlobe distortion we see from this progressive dilation. Kathleen has stretched her earlobe so much that it's extended further up into the ear itself and made reconstruction very difficult. It may not be the best idea. What are your goals exactly?
If I could have some semblance of a normal earlobe.
So you're done with this whole thing?
Yeah.
You know, I think we need to go to an exam room. Here, you can see that cone. Feel that skin.
This is almost useless. So it's all about blood supply. So the blood supply comes in from two directions. One direction from the ear itself, and the other place is from both the ear and the cheek. If you just sort of make a cut anywhere in between these two, you cut off the blood supply now coming from two directions.
Yeah.
And that's when it starts to become risky.
We can do this. But this is a puzzle. Not only do I have to make Kathleen's ears look normal, I have to try to get them to match. It's gonna take a lot of precision and time. Number one, you know that it's never gonna look like your sister's ears. Two, there's a risk that part of this earlobe, especially on the right, can just die. Turn black, fall off, and that's it.
Right. I think I realized that the blood supply could be compromised to that area almost immediately after I had my earlobe scalpeled. So this is nothing that would surprise me at all.
Okay, so we're just gonna start.
Holy shit. I did not even, like, it makes sense. I just didn't even think of that. That has made it so clear. That has like outlined it, explained it so clearly. That is a potential risk you face if you are to do those sorts of things. The tissue can just die and the lobe could just fall off. That is terrifying.
For Kathleen's procedure today, I will begin by making incisions inside the lower portions of her stretched ears. Next, I will add stitches and attempt to contour her lobes into a normal shape. And my goal is to give her proportionate looking, similar, symmetric earlobes. So both ears look pretty similar, and they're pretty symmetric, maybe about 1 millimeter off. I thought I'd pretty much walk out of here maybe being about 50% happy.
Yeah.
Now we have to just watch the blood supply.
Thank you, Dr. Nessa.
My pleasure, Kathleen.
Oh my God. I'm just so used to being able to like move my head
It's
and
very
the plug
impressive.
smack me in the side of my head. But since my surgery, I feel really light. It's a noticeable change. I am not missing my earlobes. Before surgery, my ears looked like rubber bands, but you can't snap these anymore.
Yeah, sick. So that's one example. Looks amazing. Can get them looking so freaking good. I'm fairly sure this one is Dr. Pimple Popper.
My name is Noelle Breckenridge. I'm 29 years old.
I just love that they have to tell their whole life story in order to get to like, let's just see those ears stitched up. It's hilarious though. I do love it.
I began stretching my ears when I was 15 years old.
I'm sorry, they just make it out like it is this big life-changing, like life-destroying thing that like modifying your body will fucking destroy your life. Maybe if you do it on a whim or you do it for the wrong reasons or you do it for others or something like that. But if you're doing it for yourself, I don't agree with the way they're portraying this. If you're doing it for someone else, then yeah, you're probably gonna regret it. If you do it to impress other people, yeah, you're probably gonna regret it. They just portray it on these shows like, if you do any of these things, your life will never be the same. You will ruin every aspiration and dream and goal you have ever had. Your life is over. End it all now.
I was definitely drawn to stretching my ears. Not a whole lot of people were doing it, so
not even that
it was
big.
definitely a unique thing
like,
that set
not even
people
that wild.
apart.
They don't even look bad.
When I first started, my ears were already pierced, so I started with jewelry that was just a little bit bigger. As I needed larger sizes, I got more creative and I would use things around the house, like drinking straws, pen caps, marker caps. At their largest, I stretched my ears to over an inch. My ears are stretched enough that I can get my fingers through them. I enjoyed it when I was younger, but I've definitely outgrown the stretched ears. The hair industry can be awesome because it really does allow more self-expression, but I also found that it was kind of a double-edged sword because
every time that someone would cut my hair, the scissors would slide through the holes in my ears, and I wasn't enjoying that anymore like I used to in my youth.
Felt some hesitation from people as I first met them to do their hair.
There's a patient named Noelle coming in today, and I hear she has some issues with her earlobes.
I'm really excited. I am a little bit nervous just because I don't know what the process is really going to be like.
What are you here for? You look too cute. I don't even see anything going on with you.
I want my earlobes repaired because I had them stretched for a long time, and this is as far as they've shrunk.
Yeah, yours were stretched a significant amount. What I look at is see how much earlobe you have left that is salvageable. You know, sometimes it thins it out a little bit. I know people know me as Dr. Pimple Popper. They really expect me or travel from really far for me to pop their pimples, but I'm pretty darn good at repairing earlobes too. I really like that I can be a part of changing people's lives for the better when they've maybe made a decision in the past that they now regret. So what you have to do in order to really repair an earlobe that's been stretched is the only way you can get the skin to get back together is to refresh the wound edges, because then it like sort of, it becomes like glue, then you can stick it together.
I remember when I was younger, people would be like, oh, you can go to like 10 or 12 millimeters and you'll be fine. And then they would be like, but once you get over 12, they won't close after that. But you can get some like sandpaper, sand the inside of your ear to open it up and make it like a wound again. And then it will close and it will do kind of like what she's saying. But that would be so fucking disgusting and so rough and so painful. Why? Why were people recommending this? No one actually knew anyone who did it. I think they just heard from a friend of a friend of a friend of a, like, did anyone actually do that? Was that actually a thing?
We're gonna probably try to hide the scar line right along the edge of our ear here. So hold this for me. So what I'm trying to do is, it's probably gonna be something like that.
Okay. I am nervous about what's really possible. Hopefully my earlobes will look normal again.
All right, let's do that, okay? Sweet. It's a tricky procedure to correct stretched earlobes like Noelle's because it's not just a straight side-to-side closure. This is a 3D sort of thing. It's not just a flat surface. You have an earlobe that has a lot of contours and turns to it. I like doing earlobe repair in particular because it's kind of like you have to fit puzzle pieces together, like it's Jenga or Tetris or something. Part of the earlobe has been stretched away, it's been thinned out, and you still want to, after the repair, make sure it still looks like a legitimate earlobe. Noelle's got some pretty big gauges. They're challenging because the skin has really been stretched. There's not that much earlobe skin there, so I really have to make use of as much of that skin as possible and try to make this earlobe look as normal as possible.
That one looks even better than the other one, but it's probably because there wasn't really much at all on the other girl. Like there was a bit more lobe on this one.
I'm really, really happy with them. They look legit.
Yay!
Yay.
Thank you so much.
No, of course. That was fun.
Yeah.
It was really nice to meet you too. You're lovely.
I'm really excited that I have the normal earlobes again.
I'm very excited. I think it's super important. Make sure you do your research and go to someone who has performed these earlobe reconstructions. You don't want to go to someone who hasn't done it before, even if they are like a plastic surgeon. They obviously have expertise in their field, but that might not be what they specialize in. That's like with anything. Like I know it's not the same thing, but if you go to a tattoo artist, you want to go to someone who specializes in what you like and what you want. Go to someone who specializes in the outcome that you desire, and someone who has done this before, like this Dr. Pimple Popper said, like, I am damn good at it and I really enjoy doing it. Someone like that would be perfect. And did you see how good those earlobes looked? Divine. I hope this was helpful for anyone who's thinking of closing up their stretched ears, or even people who are thinking of stretching their ears and want to know that they can do it in the future, even though some may think that it's like, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna do it for life. Well, things change and some people don't want to do it for life, and it's good to know that there is a way to like rid of it if one day you don't want to have it anymore. Just be really careful, because especially like the first video said, your ear could literally die. Like the lobe could just die and fall off. So it can be risky. Don't think it's all fun and games and like nothing bad will happen. Bad things can happen, and I think it's worth really, really paying attention to the risks and finding the right person to do it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a like down below and subscribe if you're new here, and I'll be back soon. Bye!